Whatever you do, find LaFarge. Brian's last words echoed in my mind as I made my way uptown. I held a plastic bag with some supplies I'd picked up on the way. Bandages for my shoulder, a small pocket knife, a flashlight, and some bags of trail mix, and a bottle of water. Not much, but it would float me while I headed up north to look for LaFarge. LaFarge. Jesus Christ. I didn't even know where this guy was or how I was supposed to find him. Brian hadn't finished telling me that part of the story yet before they... I shook my head. My vision was shimmering like the pavement on a hot day. The side effects of the pill were getting worse, and I didn't know how long they would last. I was seeing things now. Several times on the walk uptown, I thought I saw the man in the bowler hat reflected in a store window. He was never there when I turned my head, but I swear his reflection was getting closer. I reminded myself it was just my eyes playing tricks on me. At least I hope that's all it was. In any case, as long as the pill was working, it was shielding me from their control devices. The real thing to be afraid of was the side effects wearing off. That's when I would really be in trouble. Control devices. Mind control devices. It still sounded ridiculous even after everything I'd seen that day. There's a government conspiracy to control our thoughts. Everyone is in on it. For fuck's sake, there are crackheads who think more rationally than that. What proof did I have? Brian's papers were gone. No one else would corroborate anything I've seen. I was actively hallucinating at that very moment because of the pill. Oh my God. I pushed Lindsay out of the goddamn window. Or did I even do that? Was any of this real? Or was I laying in a hospital bed, foaming at the mouth, shouting, "They're coming for my thoughts! Don't let them get me!" Was the world really in danger? Or had I just lost my fucking... Whatever you do, find LaFarge. Okay, Brian, I said to myself. We'll do it your way. I'll head up north. If I don't find him, I'll get to enjoy insanity for the rest of my life. I've heard it's actually quite nice. If I do find him, well, I'll figure that out when I get to it. I found where my car was parked, across the street from a dingy punk bar a dozen blocks away from my apartment. There was always parking around there because old punkers would sometimes smack the cars with bar stools to relive their glory days. My car had a few new dings on it, but nothing major. I got in and set the bag down in the passenger seat. My phone chimed. I pulled it out of my pocket and saw that my mom had sent me a text. "What's going on? Call me!" I looked around. The street was completely empty, save for a mailman making the rounds. I looked back at the phone. It was a stupid risk. Stupid, stupid, stupid. But I had to try to warn her. I swiped it open and called my mom. She answered, and I could hear the fear in her voice. "Honey, what's happening? The police just called me. They said something happened to Lindsay? Are you all right?" "I'm fine, Mom. I need you to listen to me. Grab a bag, pack what you need, and drive out to Aunt Clara's right away. Don't stop. Don't wait for anything. Just get out of the house and go as quickly as you can." "What on earth are you talking about? Are you in trouble? Tell me what's going on." "I can't. I'm sorry, but I really can't right now. I'm mixed up in something big, and they might try to hurt you. I'll explain later, but just get to Clara's and tell Uncle Jim that he has my personal permission to shoot anyone who trespasses on his land. He'll love it. Trust me." "Who's trying to hurt you? Is Lindsay all right?" I swallowed. "Lindsay is fine, Mom. It's just... Brian and I have been looking into something, and I really don't have the time to explain further." "I knew it. I knew it had something to do with Brian. That boy has done nothing but stunt your potential ever since you met him. He's a lazy creep, and he smells like stale potato chips. I don't know why you ever decided to spend time around—" "Mom, will you just fucking listen to me?" I shouted. "I'm in danger, lots of it, and that means you're in danger too. Get out of the house and get somewhere safe. Now! Do you understand me?" How dare you? I never thought I'd see the day where my own son would be shouting obscenities at me outside a filthy bar like an animal. Oh my God, Mom, will you just stop and listen to... Wait, how did you know I was outside a bar? A silence on the other end. We only want what's best for you, dear. The driver's side window exploded as the mailman punched through it with clenched fists. He reached in, grabbed me by the jacket, and pulled me hard. I shouted and punched at his head, trying to knock him away. He barely flinched under my blows, and his hands were vice grips on my collar. I grabbed the steering wheel and pulled myself away from the window. I reached toward the passenger seat. The knife was just beyond my fingertips. With my other hand, I felt for his face and squeezed my thumb into his eye. His grip gave way just a bit, and I grabbed the knife. Fierce adrenaline pumped in my veins as I flicked the knife open and stabbed frantically at his face. He held on, his eyes unflinching and cold like a wolf's. He pulled harder, and I felt myself going through the window. A sick terror raced through me, and I stuck the knife hard into his neck. He let go and clutched at the wound. I opened the car door into his gut, and he fell backward onto the street. I jammed in the keys, shifted into gear, and gunned it down the street. I looked in the rearview mirror. The man with the bowler hat stood next to the crumpled mailman, and he watched me drive away. Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw him nod at me as I sped off. Late in the day, I reached the town where Brian mentioned in his last letter. It was an old coastal town, about 200 miles outside of the city. Quaint little place. I remembered Lindsay and I had stayed at a bed and breakfast there once when we were first dating. I ditched the car in a wooded area a few miles out of town and covered the rest of the distance on foot. I had tossed my phone out the window after I got away from the mailman, and all I had in my pockets were a few crumpled dollars and the flashlight. In the distance, I saw the old historic lighthouse that was the town's trademark. It stood on the rocky shore, still vigilant enough even though it hadn't been used in years. The sleepy little town took shape as I moved closer to the shoreline, and I walked down the silent main street in the afternoon light. During the tourist season, this street would be humming with families shopping for souvenirs and eating greasy battered seafood. Now, though, the place was cold and deserted, and the sound of my own footsteps were making me nervous. Find LaFarge. Well, gosh, Brian, couldn't you have given me a little more help than that? What am I supposed to do? Walk in the town pub and ask if anyone knows him? I turned a corner and saw the one business in town that was open. The Pink Coral Bar and Grill. I sighed. Fuck it. I opened the door and felt all the eyes in the room size me up immediately. Dainty little pretty boy from the city, their eyes seemed to say. I remember why I hated this place. I took a seat at the bar and ordered a drink. My head was swimming, and I rubbed my eyes with my thumb and forefinger. When I looked up, I could see the man in the bowler hat reflected in the bar mirror in front of me. I gasped and turned around. Nothing. Whoa there, relax, buddy. We're not gonna bite, the bartender said, and a couple of the guys laughed. I forced myself to laugh too, in a sad attempt to look normal. What brings you out this way? Sightseeing? The bartender asked. Yeah, just taking a drive up the coast to relax a little, I said. Well, you sure look like you could use it, big guy. More laughter. Yeah, I guess. Hey, listen, there's an old friend of mine who used to live out here. Haven't seen him in years. Name's LaFarge. Do you know if he's still around? The bartender cracked a wide grin. Hey, this gentleman's looking for LaFarge, he called out. The barflies cracked up, and everyone turned to look at me. Yeah, the bartender said. I guess you could say that old nutcase is still here. Do you know where I could find him? Sure, the bartender smiled. Only one place to look. I stood in the graveyard in the fading light, looking down at the simple headstone in front of me. Sebastian LaFarge, February 19, 1951 to July 22nd, 2011. Together we will shine into the darkness. Okay, Brian, I whispered. I found him. You said I'd know what to do when I found him, and I did. So now what? I walked out of the graveyard and back toward the town. I had to have missed something. Maybe LaFarge was just a code name or something, and I had to contact him a different way. Maybe there was another LaFarge in town, and the bar hicks were just messing with me. Or maybe I really was crazy. My head was starting to feel better. The pill was wearing off. Either I was crazy, or they'd take over my brain soon. Either way, I was at a dead end. I kicked a plastic cup with a lighthouse logo down the sidewalk. Tears clouded my vision. Of all the places for the story to end, why did it have to be here? Why did I have to meet my doom in a bullshit little tourist trap full of assholes peddling shitty food, cheap souvenirs, and plastic cups with cheesy lighthouses printed on the... Lighthouses. Together we will shine into the darkness. I ran toward the old lighthouse as the pink sunlight faded from the sky. The wind whipped my coat along the rocky path to the base. I flicked on my flashlight and found an old door rusted into the side of the lighthouse. It was locked, but a few good kicks knocked it open. I climbed the stairs up to the lantern room and shined the flashlight around. It was pitch dark and dusty, and the crumbling remains of the lantern sat like a flayed skeleton in the dark. I looked around. Aside from the ancient equipment, there was nothing out of the ordinary. Great. Looks like I'd just added destruction of property to the long list of crimes I'd be arrested for. I turned back down towards the stairs. A pair of heavy hands clamped down on my shoulders and threw me back onto the ground. I cried out, but a black form held me down and covered my mouth. I felt the cold metal of a knife against my throat. "What are you doing here? Who sent you?" a voice demanded. The hand moved from my mouth, and I stammered. My friend, Brian. He told me to come." Between gasps of air, the hand grabbed my face and moved it from side to side. The body stepped off of me and pulled me to my feet. "Sorry about that," the voice said. "I had to make sure it was you and not just them using your brain. Can't be too careful these days." "Who are you?" I said. He stepped into the moonlight. "My name is Sebastian LaFarge. You and I have a lot to talk about, my friend."